Alright, let's take a look at a really cool rifle here. This is an SKS, so a lot of people are familiar with these, but you may not be. Let's take a closer look at it. First off, it's a 7.62x39. It was actually the second rifle designed for the 7.62x39 cartridge right after the RPD. So this is prior to the AK-47, and it does use the 7.62x39 cartridge. Used mostly in Russia and China, but also in other countries like Albania and Yugoslavia. It's probably missing a few. And as much as I like AKs, I'm not much of a SKS expert, but I can tell you a little bit about this one that I'm aware of. Like we looked at, I opened up the bolt there to show that it's clear, but that also gives us an idea. It's semi-auto. It uses a magazine, but it's an internal magazine as opposed to a removable box magazine. In order to drop the bolt, I need to push at the release tension on it and then drop the follower there. The follower is the piece that pushes the bullets up. As soon as there's no rounds in the magazine, I pull the charging handle back. That follower, the thing that pushes the bullets up, gets in the way of the bolt, and that's why it won't go forward. So if I push that down, I can let the bolt go forward all the way. If there was a problem or something, this little switch is to drop the bottom of the magazine, so it's not really for reloading. It's just if there's an issue and you needed to, if it was all gummed up, you could drop this, all the extra rounds are going to fall out and make it a little easier. It's also going to release tension, and you'll see now it won't stay back because the follower has no tension. We've got behind there a bandolier that holds a bunch of stripper clips. So let's talk about loading it. You see that we've got these 7.62x39s on stripper clips. And we talked about how when you pull the bolt back on the SKS, it locks back. Let's take a closer look at the top of the bolt carrier, and we see that notch there. The stripper clip basically drops into that notch. You push down. I'm a little out of practice, but this can obviously be done in one quick move when you know what you're doing. You throw the stripper clip back on the ground, and now you've got 10 rounds in the magazine. Now I'm going to go ahead and push down on that first round and let the bolt carrier go forward, and you can see no rounds going into battery there. Now we've got a fully loaded SKS. Now if for some reason we needed to unload it for safety or whatever, we can just pull back on that little notch. It's going to drop the bottom of the magazine, and there they are. All the rounds are just going to fall out. Now we'll, with no tension on the mag there, we'll just make sure that we're empty. And now we're back to having the empty SKS rifle. Here we've got the trigger, and right in the back of the trigger guard we've got the safety. So this is engaged, and this is with the safety on. So now the trigger's dead, and now the trigger works. They've got kind of a cheap trigger, I guess. They're not, obviously these are inexpensive firearms, so they didn't put a lot of effort into their triggers. I've never really had a problem with the triggers. I kind of like them. Let's start at the back here. So we've got the stock. We've got, on this particular one, a metal butt plate. Most of the time they have that. I'm pushing in on this circle here, and that's going to push a trapdoor and release the cleaning kit. So we've got a cleaning kit inside the stock. So now in order to reinsert it, I just push it into the trapdoor there and lock it into place and allow that trapdoor to close behind it. And then the trapdoor will close. So it's on its own little spring. You push it in, it stays in place. When you need it, you push down, let the cleaning kit come out, and the door closes behind it. Pretty neat little system. You just have to get used to shoving your finger in there, and it kind of pinches your finger a little bit. Then we've got a sling swivel. It's on the side of the stock, which I guess is good for carrying it, but it does kind of get in the way sometimes when you're shooting it. We've got the dust cover, the bolt carrier, the rear sight. Very much like the AK-47 sight. We've got the upper handguard here. The stock is all one piece, so it's a little different from an AK that way. And we've got the gas tube on top, a similar gas system to an AK. Barrel, of course. We've got the front sight here. Sights on an SKS aren't that great. You can see that there's sort of just a notch in the back and that post up front. Most of the time they are shrouded. I think all the time they're shrouded, just like a Chinese AK. And then of course let's talk about this bayonet. It's a spike style bayonet, cruciform. We're not allowed to use these anymore, I think because of the Geneva Convention or something. so you don't see spike bayonets too often. This one has a spring thing here and a pivot, and you can see that mushroom shape works with the little notch in the release there. So we can bring it up. If we want to close it, we push forward. It brings that ring up off the barrel, and then we can fold it. What's neat about SKSs is they have a channel here in the stock, so the spike will fit right in there. You don't have to worry about jamming your fingers up or your hand up when you're shooting it. First we have the sling swivel up front on the gas block, similar to some AKs. And this is a cool Chinese sling. Chinese slings have the leather little attachments to the sling swivels. Makes them a little quiet, and unfortunately they can kind of dry rot, so they're a little more rare than just the standard slings. This sling is also cool because it's got a bunch of Japanese, or probably Chinese I guess, writing on it. I'm not a sling expert. There's a lot of guys that collect slings, and they might be more impressed or less impressed by that. Overall though, it's a neat Chinese SKS, and this would have been exactly the same rifle that would have been issued to military. Because it's semi-auto, they don't have to do anything to import it, except now we've got some sort of reasons why we can't import from China. Let's take a look at some of the other details on this particular one. As I mentioned, they had to be imported by someone. You know, these were made in China. This particular one we can see was manufactured by Norinco, and then if you can read there, it was imported by B West in Tucson, Arizona, and that's where we are. So this one's kind of cool for us locally, because this was imported by an importer here called B West, and that was a sporting goods store or gun shop here in town called Jensen's. Back in the day, that family not only owned the gun shop, a couple of gun shops, they also were importers and manufacturers of AKs and stuff. Now, whether or not you like the reputation of B West for AKs, obviously their SKSs came straight from China, so really cool to see this Tucson imported SKS here in Tucson again. If this thing could talk, I mean, that was years, decades ago, it might have been all around the country for all we know, and then brought back, or maybe it just lived in a safe here all these years. They were originally imported full of cosmoline. This one's obviously all cleaned up, probably been shot a little bit. It's in used, but pretty decent condition. So that's about 8 minutes worth of info, 7 minutes worth of info on the SKS. Again, I'm not a collector of these things. I appreciate them. I've had SKSs my whole life. I think they're great, inexpensive rifles. They're great for a truck gun or something that you have maybe on the ranch to you know, take care of just, you know, duties that you would need a lever action rifle or a rifle for. They can step up and become a defensive rifle if necessary, and they're just a lot of fun to shoot. The 7.62x39 ammunition, of course, is relatively inexpensive compared to some other rifle ammo, so overall, great bargain. Unfortunately, SKSs have cost a little bit more in the last few years than they did originally. I remember when I was a kid, you know, we all have stories of seeing SKSs under $75 everywhere, and because of that, no one appreciated them, no one really bought them, and you know, those days have passed. So again, SKSs are, in my opinion, a very interesting rifle if you're beginning to collect, if you're beginning to shoot, or if you're just a firearms enthusiast. An SKS can really fit the bill. Like I say, they've gone up in price recently, but they're still an overall decent deal as far as firearms go. Hope you enjoyed this quick tour of the SKS. There's obviously a lot more to learn. Stay tuned to more videos for stuff like that. Stay tuned to our websites, and as always, thanks for watching.
The guys and gals at gun websites encourage you to take a CCW course every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.
I've got a question for all the people that insist there's no reason to want to own an AK-47. If that's the case, then how do they explain all the books that have been written in so many different countries over so many years about collecting the AK?